Hello, and welcome back to Umineko When They Cry, episode 21. Unfortunately, I am not in as high of spirits as I wanted to be due to something personal that happened, but I really did want to maintain the schedule of posting every Sunday, and I want to see the end of episode 1, which, by the way, we will be reaching the end of episode 1 this episode no matter what, no matter how long it takes, which I'm hoping will be within, an hour or two. But yeah, we're gonna finish this today, and I'm sorry if I sound a little down, because I am a little down. Another thing, I got a note from someone that, I sounded a little distant from the mic last time, and as you know, I got a new microphone. So I've moved it in front of my keyboard instead of behind, like where it was, and I'm hoping I will sound a little clearer. We'll see though. But anyways, let's get into this. Let's see what happens regarding like the phone call and the singing, and now we're all going as a gang to see downstairs and what's happening in the lobby. Not lobby, what is it? Parlor. Aunt Natty raised the rifle high and took the lead. I couldn't go unarmed myself. I found a 3-pronged candle stand and readied it. Although the pins on it used to fit candles were short, it was almost like a 3-pronged spear. Then, the 4 of us left the study. We left the study, which should have been the safest place inside the mansion. By doing this, we had been lured out, even though we had barricaded ourselves in a safe, closed room. Perhaps we were doing exactly the same thing Grandfather had done when he disappeared from that room. Maria, where are you? Answer me! I listened closely, but didn't hear anything. The mansion was vast, and since the passing typhoon was making its last stand, the sound of the rain was even noisier than before. Maria Chan said she wanted to watch TV in the parlor, right? Let's try going downstairs. That's right. Let's try there. Everyone, be mindful of your surroundings. Yeah. With Aunt Natty in the center, her rifle readied and her finger on the trigger, we moved in a group, our backs together, checking our surroundings in all directions. This is so Scooby-Doo. It was just as though the magic of that magic circle designed to spread discord had worked. We had split up and, furthermore, had been dragged out into dangerous territory. In other words, even now, we were doing just what the culprit wanted us to do. This was a separate world where it wouldn't be odd for anything to suddenly occur. Aunt Natty nervously pointed the barrel of the gun at every dark spot in shadow. It felt like that motion was out of fear rather than caution. But the rifle she held in her hand should have been a trump card that the culprit feared. You know, I've been thinking. It wouldn't be impossible to stick one of those ice picks into someone's chest, like in Kanankun's case. But splitting the skull and sticking them into the forehead, like in my parents' case, wouldn't be that easy. You think the culprit had that kind of animal strength? They probably had some kind of weapon, a device that can shoot or pound in those ice picks. That handle was too short to be driven in that deeply by human strength alone. Either way, they have enough force to break through a skull. I heard Cannon's wound reached as far as his lungs. If you happen to see your opponent, don't go forwards. You mustn't move away from my back. Just how sinister and frightening was the weapon that could shoot those creepy ice picks? And could I do anything to combat it with just this candle stand in my hands? In the first murder, the culprit probably assaulted all 4 of our parents at once as they discussed the inheritance problem in the dining hall. And there were 4 of us here now. Apparently, I wasn't the only person thinking this. George and Iki, Jessica, and of course Aunt Natsuhi were stretching their senses to the utmost limit, in the highest and worst state of tension, slowly advancing one step, then another. What have we done? Because of the seeds of doubt spread by that one letter, we threw Maria and the rest into the middle of this terrifying world. We finally reached the first floor. The parlor was just across the hall. When we listened carefully, we could hear it faintly. Maria's eerie, singing voice. She wasn't singing naturally, as though she were in a good mood. She was singing mechanically, like she was at a graduation ceremony and she'd been ordered to. The song she sang was just a common folk song, one that everyone has probably sung in school at one time or another. But why that, in the middle of the night, alone, with all her heart, over and over? Why? Right after leaving the study, we had called out in loud voices, asking Maria where she was. I don't like this. But this time, no one said even a single word. We hid our breath in the sound of our footsteps and, intensely focused on our surroundings to the point of being completely high-strung, we stepped forward. The door to the parlor was closed, but we could hear Maria's singing voice through it. Aunt Natsuhi put her hand on the handle of the doorknob. When George and Iki stopped her, "I'll open the door. Aunt Natsuhi, Battler-kun, ready your weapons." "Understood. Take care. They might attack as soon as we open it. George, Nissan, watch yourself." "Sure. Then I'll open it." "Uh-huh." He tried to open it, but immediately felt the hard resistance of the lock. Aunt Natsuhi took the bundle of keys from her pocket and gave them to George. There were about 10 keys, and none of us had a clue which was which. Because of this, George had to fumble around loudly and test several of the keys. You know, one thing that's bothered me this whole time, every time it shows a doorknob that, supposedly locks, the picture of the doorknob in the background has no lock on it. Just food for thought. Oh, I totally skipped that. No, wait, no, stop. I missed that. Since we had hidden our footsteps, preparing to make a surprise attack on the room, this felt almost fatal. The whole time, we could hear Maria's voice from the parlor singing the same song over and over. It was like a broken, crazy cassette tape. We'd been in that room almost constantly since morning. All the frightening things had occurred outside that room. That had left us with the impression that only this room was safe. That baseless impression was quickly falling apart. It's open. Thank you. George-kun, Jessica, move behind me. Aunt Natsuhi, let's jump in at the same time and split up in different directions. If we just stand around after opening the door, those ice picks might fly right through the center. I agree. Ready? I really wish I could say no. I readied myself. If they're gonna be throwing ice picks, I'll whack them with this candle stand. Go! Aunt Natsuhi and I rammed into the door before flying into the parlor, quickly splitting up left and right and searching the parlor for someone who might be waiting for us. But what our eyes landed upon. Dead bodies. Was an incredibly strange sight. Yep, dead. The parlor was stained with blood. This place where we spent almost the entire day, where we pressed in together to protect ourselves from some unknown malice, had been stained with fresh blood. It had become an ocean of blood. On the floor lay Genji-san, Kumasawa-san, and Dr. Nanjo, their entire bodies stained bright red with the blood. Oh, we've got the bodies. Let's see. Kumasawa. Found in the parlor. Her calf had a weapon resembling an ice pick sticking out of it. and her face had been smashed. At the 8th twilight, gouge the leg and kill. Okay, it wasn't her knees, but it was still her legs, so I'll count that as a half win. Servant Genji. Found in a parlor, he had a weapon resembling an ice pick sticking out of his stomach, and his face had been smashed. At the 6th twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. Yeah. Found in family Dr. Nanja. Found in a parlor, his thigh had a weapon resembling an ice pick sticking out of it, and his face had been smashed. At the 7th twilight, gouge the knee and kill. But the only way we could identify them was by their clothes. That was because, that's right, this is how the whole tragedy started. Their faces! Just like our smashed up parents in the shed, you couldn't tell where their eyes stopped and their noses began. It was as though they'd rudely plunged their faces into tomato pot pies all squished up. Ah! And that wasn't all. Their bodies had other wounds. It was those demon ice picks. They were in Genji-san's stomach, Dr. Nanja's thigh. No, his knee? That's right, of course, it's his knee. In the epitaph, the 6th twilight was the stomach, and on the 7th twilight, the knee was gouged. So after seeing one of them stuck near Kumasawa Bachan's calf, I couldn't help masochistically laughing. Ah, that's right. On the 6th twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the 7th twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the 8th twilight, gouge the leg and kill. Now even the 8th twilight was over. And the next one, the 9th twilight, what was it again? Maria was there. She was facing the wall in the inner part of the room, standing stock still and completely alone. She faced away from this horrible scene, standing by the wall, singing her song over and over. There was nothing else in the room, just the corpses of the 3 who had been brutally killed, and the phone receiver, which was still off of its hook, proving that this was the room the call had come from. Just that and Maria, her back to the scene as she kept on singing while facing the wall. We couldn't even scream at this bizarre scene. We could only stare shocked with our mouths hanging loosely open. Maria? Oh, fuck me. Jessica called out to her, but Maria showed no reaction. Alone, she kept singing on and on. We had come here trying to save Maria from some approaching danger. So, now that we had found her, we should have been running up to Maria, hugging her, joyous that she was safe. And yet, not one of us could do that. Everyone thought it, but they couldn't say it. After all, because that's right, even if that's crazy. No, it couldn't be. Maria! Stop singing! Are you listening? At some point, Aunt Natsu and I had pointed our weapons at Maria's back. I yelled at Maria in a violent voice, but there was no reaction. She just kept singing. With the candle stand still readied, I ran up to her and violently slammed my hand down on her shoulder. Then I pulled on her shoulder, forcing her to turn around. Maria's small body was quickly pulled down and fell. And as though unhappy at having her singing interrupted, Maria looked into my face with her usual expression. Even in this gruesome situation, she was just like normal. Maria, what is this? Who did it? Beatrice. Cut that crap. I threw the candle stand I'd been holding against the wall. The violence of that reckless sound should have gone straight into Maria's heart. But Maria's expression didn't change at all. Quit it, Battler-kun. Maria-chan, this time you should have seen the face of the culprit who killed these 3. Was the culprit the same Beatrice who gave you the letter? Beatrice. Well, in that case, it's certain. There was a 19th person, Beatrice does exist. Then, Maria, will you at least tell me this much? How did they kill these 3 people? What did they use to kill them in such a brutal way? I don't know. How could you not know? It happened in this room. Are you trying to tell me you were so absorbed in singing that you didn't notice? Calm down, Battler-kun. Maria-chan, talk to me, okay? George and Iki, as he always did, crouched down next to Maria so that their eyes met and talked to her very kindly. Maria-chan, why were you facing the wall and singing? Beatrice said to face the wall and keep singing for a long time. So, did Beatrice come here? Were Genji-san and the rest still alive then? Everyone came into the parlor together and sat down. Genji-san made sure to lock the door. It was locked when we got here. But then, how did Beatrice get into the parlor? Beatrice is a witch, so locks don't matter. She turned into butterflies and came in through the crack in the door. Calmly joking at a time like this? Like hell that happened. What are you saying? You can't believe it? That's why I didn't want to say. No matter how I say it, you won't believe. But Beatrice is a witch. She can do anything with her miraculous magic. That's why Beatrice doesn't care whether a door is locked or not. And then after Beatrice appeared, what happened to everyone? Beatrice talked to us. She said grandfather's study was protected by a powerful force and she couldn't enter no matter what she did. So she told us she'd select 3 sacrifices from the 4 people in the parlor. Everyone said, no way. Kumasawa-san kept saying, no way, no way. But Beatrice chose. And when she did, Beatrice said I'd be fine. Why do you think? It's because of the scorpion charm with the 5th magic circle of Mars, the one Battler used to pray for my safety, the one he put his feelings into. Because of that power, Beatrice couldn't do anything to me, and me alone. So she decided to use the other 3 as sacrifices. After that, Beatrice spoke. Come, face the wall and sing a song for me. You will sing lots and lots of songs, so no matter what happens, no matter what you hear, you won't hear, you won't know. Come, sing lots of fun songs for me. So I was singing the whole time, over and over. So I didn't hear anything, didn't know anything. And then all of you came. Are you asking us to believe that? You think we're stupid? Then who will you suspect this time? Will you suspect me? You're gonna try killing me right here? Even if you do that, Beatrice won't stop existing. Now the 8th twilight is over, and Beatrice will revive. Are you serious? I've had enough of that talk. As if witches could exist, as if I'd let myself get tricked. Won't accept it. I won't accept it. Beatrice doesn't exist. I definitely won't accept it. So I won't let her exist. I won't let her revive. The legend will remain a legend forever. I won't acknowledge something like that. Quit it, Battler. It's not like Maria killed them or let them die. Beatrice came and Maria had to obey. He was unable to resist. Huh? Natsuhi. She isn't here. Oh! Mom? Where did she go? Just now she left by herself, reading a letter. A letter? That makes sense. The culprit must be so exhilarated now that we've reached the twilight. They might have left a letter so that they could brag even more. We were so wrapped up in questioning Maria that we forgot to look for a letter. But even as well armed as she was, why had she left the room by herself in this dangerous mansion after reading it? Jessica tried to chase after her and tugged at the handle to the door, but it resisted strangely and wouldn't open. Mom! Mom! What's going on? Open up, open up! It was only natural. Natsuhi had picked up the candlestand which Battler had thrown at the wall and which had fallen to the floor. She had then skillfully wedged it between the doorknobs on the double doors like a bolt, holding them closed. The intricate design of the candlestand caused it to get caught solidly, and it really did make a sturdy seal on the door. The tragic scream of daughter for her mother. Did it reach Natsuhi's ears or not? Natsuhi POV? Oh, she gonna confront the portrait? Natsuhi's figure was alone in the entrance hall. It was the place decorated by the portrait of Beatrice. Natsuhi threw down Beatrice's last letter, the one she had read in the parlor, readied her rifle again, and in a voice that rang clear, yelled in the massive space that was the entrance hall. I am Ushiramiya Natsuhi, representative of the Ushiramiya family. Show yourself, Golden Witch Beatrice. The entrance hall was dimly lit. Other than a faint light which shone on the center of the room, everything was blotted out by the jet-black darkness. Oh, she's showing herself. In that darkness, butterflies glittering in gold squirmed, twinkled, and sneered. Natsuhi gave one more huge gulp and pointed the cold barrel of the gun at the gold butterflies. So you have finally shown yourself. I still can't believe that something like you really exists. But that isn't a problem. Both I, who bear the title of representative to the Ushiramiya family, and you who claim to succeed the headship of the Ushiramiya family, are here right now. At this point, whether you are a witch or not is a trivial matter. Come, let us settle this. Which of us will truly succeed the Ushiramiya family? I, Ushiramiya Natsuhi, or you, Beatrice? Allow me to respectfully accept your request for a duel. I don't think Natsuhi's winning. Oh yeah, we're getting creepy butterfly laughs. She's gone. The gold butterfly slowly formed a human shape, which walked into the dim light. Natsuhi readied the rifle and glared. The witch raised her golden staff overhead and laughed. Natsuhi's finger slowly squeezed the trigger. And go! Battler made an all-out dash at the door and rammed into it, crushing the candlestand that had been barring it and making it possible for a big gap to be opened in the door. He kept kicking the candlestand through that gap, and the door was finally released. She's gone. Natsuhi's gone, guys. At that time, they heard it. They certainly heard the crisp sound of gunfire ring out once. Mom! Mom! Jessica-chan, you mustn't run off by yourself. Was that the sound of a gun just now? Did Aunt Natsuhi shoot? At whom? At the culprit? The noise had come from the entrance hall, and the entrance hall looked like a stage, like the heroine of a tragedy, on the ground and bathed in light, arrayed in the beauty of that silence. Aunt Natty lay face up, crumpled on the floor. Half crazed, Jessica ran up to Aunt Natty. On Aunt Natty's forehead, it was almost as though a sparkling shard of pigeon blood ruby had been placed there. Ushirami Natsuhi, found shot dead in front of the witch's portrait. How impudent of her to challenge the witch with nothing but a mere gun. Of course she'd end up like this. And from it, one stream of blood makeup passed by her eye and began to traverse her face. The faint smell of gunpowder smoke came in from the barrel of the rifle Aunt Natty still grasped. Then she shot herself in the forehead? Why? Mom! Yeah? I don't get it. Why did Aunt Natty run away alone? And why did she shoot through her own forehead? Maria-chan, Aunt Natty left the room after reading a letter, right? There's no letter here. Damn it, what did Aunt Natty read and why was she lured out here? I don't know, who cares about that? What the hell, why did she kill herself? Why did she leave me alone? Ah! Jessica clung to her mother's corpse, crying earnestly. My body was consumed with an anger I didn't know what to do with. I snatched the rifle from Aunt Natsy's hand. I spun around, pointing the barrel of the gun into the darkness on all sides, as though I was pointing a light from a lighthouse, trying to find the culprit. George Aniki, even in this situation, was trying to calmly figure something out, but that might have been a fruitless effort. And only Maria was completely indifferent. So is this all supposed to be some kind of predetermined fate? No, that's not it. This is all a prelude to a wonderful world. The door to the Golden Land will finally open. On the night's twilight, the witch shall revive, and none shall be left alive. And on the 10th twilight, at journey's end, you shall attain the power of the Golden Land's treasures, once and for the last time. With this, everything is over, Beatrice. Congratulations. Congratulations. So lead me to the Golden Land you told me of. Right now. There, all of the dead will be revived, and even lost love will be restored. So in Maria's eyes, it's just as though all of today's tragedies didn't happen. It's as though all the time she spent deprived of love never happened. Stop it! What's so fun? What's to be congratulated? There were 18 people on this island. 14 are dead. Only the 4 of us are left. I'm definitely not gonna die. Until the night is over. No, until the typhoon passes and the seagulls gather again at the harbor. I'm definitely not gonna die. I'll stay alive. I'll stay alive no matter what. Give it up, Battler. Guns are useless against witches. Survival and all that stuff doesn't matter. Because it's over. The journey has already ended. See? Look at the clock. Huh? The clock? Hearing those words, I looked at my wristwatch. Both needles were almost touching near the top. Very soon it will be 12 at night. In other words, 24. When you think about it, isn't 24 a strange time? It can be called 24, and it could also be called 0. It's the hour at the culmination of the previous day, and at the same time, it's hour 0 as the next day begins. Beatrice! Oh, sorry, that was... Beatrice! Maria suddenly called out happily and ran towards the darkness. It was almost as though Beatrice was somewhere in that darkness, and Maria was running up to her. As Jessica hugged her mother's corpse, as George and Nikki stood there, confused, I looked down at the barrel of the rifle, gazing into the darkness. The space in front of Beatrice's portrait lay in that direction, and the thing Maria was running up to was the portrait's subject. You've got to be kidding me, this is just impossible. Like I'd fall for something like this. Witches don't exist, I won't accept it. Something like you shouldn't exist because this is a human world. You think I could accept something that's not human? I definitely won't accept it. When I pulled hard on the rifle's lever, the cartridge was ejected, fell on the floor, and a new cartridge was loaded. Then I sighted the witch down the barrel. Maria turned around, still clinging to the golden witch. She turned around. Didn't I tell you it was meaningless? Mere lead bullets are meaningless against Beatrice. Humans are so stupid, aren't they? I won't accept the existence of witches. Who are you? Just try moving one step. Just try moving one finger. I'll blast you away. As the witches laughed. Even the large clock in the hall joined in on their laughter. That's the sound that plays every time I load the game. The clock. It was probably telling us that the time was 24. It was both a tone telling us that we had reached the culmination of this day, and a tone informing us that all had returned to nothing. The rule that the witch would win when time ran out had already been revealed. Battler, George, Chan, and Jessica. The journey has ended, and the witch has revived. See? And none shall be left alive. That's... that is very, and then there were none. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. 1 shall be all the gold from the Golden Land. 1 shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. 1 shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. 1 shall be to put the witch to sleep for all time. Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch Beatrice. End episode? Yeah. Holy shit. We did it. Okay. The storm passed, and the leaden clouds that had enshrouded the island for so long cleared away. From the rifts between the clouds, sunbeams shone, and yesterday's storm seemed like a lie. Just as someone had wished, the seagulls returned to the harbor once again, and let their lively cries be heard. Afterwards, the police came and conducted an investigation of the scene. The corpses of the children who were thought to have survived until the very end were never found. However, because of the body parts that were discovered and unimaginably gruesome nature of the scene, the police were forced to conclude that the chances of survival for any of the 18, even the children, seemed hopelessly dim. Dear God. Okay. Just how gruesome was the banquet of the witch, and how beautiful was the Golden Land. They were the only ones who got to hear that tale. No tales were told to those humans who had arrived after the banquet was over. The best they could do was imagine what might have happened during those 2 days. However, the witch was fickle. She made a point of leaving behind this tale which didn't need to be heard, and it was allowed to be spread. Then, many years later, a strange wine bottle that had drifted on the waves to the pier of a neighboring island was pulled out by a fisherman that was in the opening. Inside was a thin, tightly rolled notebook fragment written upon in cramped small letters. Written there was this tale. Through this notebook fragment, people finally learned the truth of the mysterious and riddle-filled 2-day period that started on October 4th, 1986. This incident was later called by many names, such as the Rokkenjima mass murders or the 18 killings of Rokkenjima. Through dilettantes from around the world knew it as the witch legend serial murders. Lovers of the occult claimed it was all that result of an immortal ceremony that sealed off the island, and those 2 mysterious days were savagely embellished with many different interpretations as the story began to spread far and wide. However, not one of those interpretations approached the truth. Furthermore, while the notebook fragment describes this mysterious incident, it does not reveal the truth of what happened there, or perhaps even the writer didn't know what the truth was. According to the writer, her name was Ushirmiya Maria. Incidentally, as part of an all-out police investigation, part of Maria's body, a piece of her jaw, was discovered. It was one of the rare instances where a corpse was identified thanks to dental records. At that gruesome scene, there had been many body parts that couldn't be identified as belonging to any specific person, so it was probably fair to say that this jaw was an extremely fortunate find. Because this jaw had been separated from its body, the police judged her chances of survival to be hopelessly dim, even though none of her other body parts were found, or at least identified. And so let us conclude the tale with the final section of the notebook fragment that Ushirmiya Maria left behind. By the time you have read this, I will probably be dead. Although there may or may not be a corpse, you who have read this, please find out the truth. That's my only wish. Ushirmiya Maria. To this very day, the truth of the witch legend serial murders has not been brought to light. Holy shit. Okay. Oh my god. First game Legend of the Golden Witch results. Ushirmiya, Rudolph, Kiri, Rosa, Shannon, Goda all died on the first twilight, chosen by the key of the Golden Land and offered up as a sacrifice. Ava died on the Ava and Hideyoshi died on the second. Pierced through the forehead by the stake of Asmodeus and stake of Beelzebub. Kinzo, stake of Mammon. Cannon, stake of Satan. Genji, stake of Lucifer. Nanjo, stake of Belphegor. Kumasawa, stake of Leviathan. The witch Beatrice revived on the ninth twilight, finally opened the door to the Golden Land. Ushirmiya Natsu died on the ninth twilight. The witch praised her nobility and granted her the honor of a duel. Ushirmiya George, Ushirmiya Jessica, Ushirmiya Maria, missing on the 10th twilight after they acknowledged the witch and prostrated herself. The witch invited her to the Golden Land. Ushirmiya Battler, missing on the 10th twilight. Will the witch invite this man who denied her existence to the Golden Land? The witch will praise the wise and should bestow 4 treasures in the Golden Land. There, they chose to revive the souls of the dead and the love that had been lost. After all, no matter how large a mountain of gold they might have desired, it would have been out of their grasp. George chose his lost fiancé. Jessica chose the boy she liked and lost. Maria chose the lost love of her mother. Sleep peacefully, Beatrice. Let nothing disturb your slumber ever again. The winner is the Golden Witch Beatrice. Time ran out before even one of the 18 could solve the riddle of the gold. All 18 died. When the seagulls cried, none were left alive. Oh my god. Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, so the bottle in the opening, that was the one that was found with Maria's diary entry. Oh my god. Okay, so they were killed by the 90 billion demons or whatever. We finished episode 1, guys! I never thought we would do it. We did it. We finished episode 1. Holy shit. Oh my god. Oh my god, we finished it. Addition of new features. The Golden Witch has prepared a gift for you in commemoration of your stay. You can find these new features on the title screen. Hey, there's that big bar of gold. I want to read what the achievement says exactly. So we're gonna look at that real quick. Okay, When the Seagulls Cry, complete episode 1. 47.2% of players have this achievement. Oh man, so less than 50% of people have finished the first episode of the game. Wow. I feel like partially of that is because a lot of people play the special version, like the, you know, I forget what it's called, the Witch's Banquet or something version. But also, just I don't think people can get into the game as much. It's been almost 2 months since we got to the first Twilight. That's crazy. Okay, 40% of the way through this game. And don't forget, we still have the other half. So, let's see what this new feature is. Tea party. You've done well to make it this far. Have you enjoyed your stay on Rokenjima? The Golden Witch has granted you an invitation to her tea party. We hope that you choose to attend. Okay. Episode 1 tea party. Let's see. Purgatorio. Oh, so we're in purgatory. Oh? Okay, so that's some music. This is a very... Okay. Hey everyone! Congrats on finishing Umineko no Naku Koruni! Wait, I want to see something. Okay, let's see. Ushirimiya Jessica missing, even though she was given a precious invitation to the Golden Land. A single fool refused to believe in the witch, and all of the magic disappeared. She was then chewed to bits by a demon and went to hell. Ah! Ushirimiya George, missing. Even though everyone was getting along so well after being reunited in the Golden Land, all of the magic came to nothing because of a certain hard-headed fool. Afterwards, the demon chewed him to the bone, and he went to hell. So basically, Battler fucked them all over. Ushirimiya Battler. This fool made the world, where everyone could be happy, all come to nothing. Though Beatrice is extremely angry, she also seems to be enjoying herself immensely. It's almost as though she's waited 1,000 years to get her hands on a toy as fun as this one. Hopefully even this fool will be able to see you before too long. Ushirimiya Miria. Missing. So... everyone's gone. We're all dead, guys. Oh my. Oh, okay. Man, I still didn't have a clue what was going on when the story ended. Okay, we're getting meta now. So, just what happened? Was that basically the bad ending where time runs out before the culprit gets exposed? Definitely a bad ending. That's right. Beatrice's letter, which Maria-chan read on the first day, did tell us in advance to solve the riddle of the epitaph. We were all so busy trying to protect ourselves and look for the culprit that we didn't even take a shot at it. That's right. Oh, wait, I can do... Shannon! Wait, I just realized it's Shannon. I can do her voice again! That's right. If we had actually tried to solve the riddle, maybe things would have been differently. I wonder about that. Shannon-chan, you did a good job too. You don't have to be our waitress and serve tea. After all, this is a rap party. As a group of people who met a horrible fate, let's all get along and lick each other's wounds. Lick, lick, lick. Okay, Battler. Speaking of a horrible fate, Shannon beats the rest of us hands down, doesn't she? She was such a beautiful character, so I thought she'd definitely survive until the very end. But she was killed right in the beginning. And on top of that, what was it? Half of her face was smashed, right? That's the worst. That was my role, so there was no way around it. Nissan, it's nothing for you to worry about. Judging by the last epilogue, even my lady and the rest of them met an extremely tragic end. Canon! Oh my god. Ah, it seems so. I think I remember seeing this horrible picture. Kinda like my entire body had been eaten apart and dismembered. Damn, it's like I went to hell or something. Speaking of which, don't you think Cannon's last moments were the coolest? Even though he had the tables turned on him, it was a showdown with the culprit, right? It's a whole bunch of better than our confusing last moments, right? Though in the end, I was unable to get a solid hit in. Still, I think Kanenkin's death was a big hint. After all, because of that, the existence of the 19th person was made clear. That's right. At that time, everyone's location was obvious, so it was impossible for anyone other than some unknown 19th person to kill Cannon. I said it was Beatrice from the beginning over and over. I don't want to believe it, but that does prove the culprit was a witch, calling herself Beatrice. That's right. There were many strange things that happened that a human couldn't do. Only a witch could do things like murdering Aunt Ava in that closed room. A human couldn't do it. Not only is the existence of a 19th person clear, but it's also obvious that this person holds a power that humans can't even imagine. In that case, I don't think there's anything wrong with calling this person Beatrice. We probably met at the very end. Met with the Golden Witch. Like I kept saying, Beatrice exists. It all went bad because no one ever believed. Even one of her witch friends says that miracles won't occur if you don't believe. That's right. Beatrice-sama is generous to those who respect her. It seems to me that Maria was never a target of Beatrice-sama's wrath up to the very end, despite the horrible crimes that occurred one after another. Well, Maria believed in Beatrice from the very beginning. But if that's the case, how do you explain why you and the rest were all killed? You guys believed in Beatrice just as much, right? Beatrice-sama probably had her reasons. If the song of the epitaph represented Beatrice-sama's resurrection ceremony, many sacrifices were needed. He must simply have been designated to be one of those. Shannon-chan, you met a horrible end. At the very least, I wish your death could have been more peaceful and pretty. Well, it's not like it hurt. Anyway, right now I'm perfectly fine, so don't worry. After seeing him stroke Shannon's cheek, which had been crushed during the story, everyone laughed out loud, smiling. Well, it feels a bit weird saying this, but I was sure the story would fit into the standard mystery genre. I'm a bit surprised to find out that it's a fantasy. After all, a Western mansion shut away from the outside world on an isolated island with an inheritance problem on everyone's minds. Sounds just like a typical mystery novel to me. No kidding. It's not fantasy! Beatrice exists! Yes, we understand. Beatrice-sama does exist. That's right. Beatrice-sama does exist. I hate to admit it, but I've got no choice. Because it's obvious that a 19th person, a witch, was involved. Many things happened that'd be impossible for humans. During the story, we tried to deny that in all sorts of ways. But now, I can say it for sure. Each crime, every single one, would have been impossible for a human. They'd be impossible to carry out unless it was the witch Beatrice using all of the power magic could provide. The culprit was a witch. That point's perfectly clear. Long live Beatrice. Everyone believed. I'm so glad. Actually, Battler hasn't spoken for a bit. I have a feeling that Blockhead is, still a bit doubtful. Gods and witches might seem terrifying to people who are frightened out of them, but I think they must be affectionate to those who believe in and respect them. I think you're right. So, this murder case game is finally over. Now's the time to pull ourselves together and try hard to solve the riddle of the epitaph, just like Beatrice said. Right? I agree. Beatrice will definitely be happy. Ha 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 ha. Everyone ignored that letter during the story. Even though it was just right in front of us, we almost completely ignored it. Kind of feel sorry for Beatrice-sama. I've got the epitaph written down right here. Let's all solve it. Let's all solve it. This story probably went wrong ever since that time. That may be so. Maybe we should have tried solving the epitaph's riddle from the beginning, like Beatrice said. Well, it's a little late now. Even so, let's try solving it now and see if the witch forgives us. Let's go try and solve the riddle of the epitaph. It was something like, "Behold the sweet fish river running through my beloved hometown." And Maria put her notebook on the table and opened to the page where the epitaph was written. Everyone stared at it, getting really into it as they started guessing this and that about the riddle. Surrounded by the smell of black tea and freshly baked vanilla cookies, they spent the time comfortably and happily. But Battler ruined the mood. Guys, I don't believe in the witch. Hold on a second, you guys. But Battler spoke in a way that cut through the conversation. His expression looked a little unhappy. What could he not like about all of this fun? I've been listening to you guys for a while, but, why did you all stop thinking? Why are you so sure that the witch was behind all of this? Don't you realize something like that can't exist? I mean, it's not as if we're in purgatory right now, so, you know. With just those words, the happy atmosphere surrounding the tea party evaporated in an instant. George and Jessica, and Shannon and Cannon, and Maria. All of them stared blankly, wondering what in the world Battler was talking about. Even the foolish, arrogant Battler realized that he hadn't chosen his words well. Because, isn't it clear that these crimes were impossible for a human? That's right. None of those cases would have been possible for a human. That's true. After all, isn't it full of things that humans couldn't explain? I don't understand what you're saying, Battler-sama. I'm the one who doesn't have a clue what you guys are talking about. Isn't it obvious that humans committed these crimes? There's no way something like a witch exists, right? Then... what about when I was killed in the storehouse and something horrible was done to half of my face? If the culprit was human, how could they have accomplished it? That's, it's hard to imagine how they did something that awful, but, they definitely did that. But that was the Rose Garden storehouse, right? I'm sure there were plenty of weird tools in there. Let's say they used some electrical tools, like a grinder or an electric saw. Then, Battler, how do you explain grandfather's disappearance from the study when it was a closed room? Even though the door was sealed, grandfather just suddenly disappeared, right? We talked about that during the story, too. It's not impossible that grandfather used some trick to fool the receipt. It's also possible that he went out of the window, fell down, and Nazi locked the window from the inside. I can think of a bunch of tricks you could use without relying on magic. Like a trap door. Why is nobody bringing up like a trap door could work? Am I crazy? That makes sense, but... in that case, Battler can, how do you explain the way my parents were killed in the guest room? The door was sealed by the lock and the chain. Naturally, the window was sealed too. How do you think a human could have killed my parents? Well, we did have to leave that trick alone during the story. Anyway, there's at least a good chance the culprit had a key. And it was possible to look in through the crack of the door that the chain allowed. I know this is a stretch, but it's possible some device was used through that crack. Like, maybe they stuck something through it. Well, even though a door chain is incredibly simple, it's a big factor in setting up a closed room. Still, there's probably some closed room trick they could have used. If you brought some closed room mystery novels from the bookstore, you could probably find some trick that fit perfectly. Anyway, I can't think of one now, but I claim that there's nothing humans can't do if they try hard enough. Isn't that argument horribly irrational, dumbass? What? It's just ridiculous to claim that it's possible for a human to do something even though you can't explain how. Why is that ridiculous? Why did all of you stop thinking? Even something that looks impossible has to be doable. Doesn't it always work like that? Battler, you're the one being ridiculous. If you think a human could have done it, try explaining how. You can't, can you? And you're okay with saying that the culprit is a witch just because I can't explain it? With that argument, all the unsolved crimes in the world could be resolved by saying a witch is a culprit. Battler, you're sidestepping the issue and you aren't explaining anything. We're saying a human couldn't have done it. Therefore, the culprit is something that isn't human. And that something is a witch. And yet, You keep arbitrarily deciding that witches are impossible, even though you can't explain anything. It's almost like humanity was during the Dark Ages. Like those fools who claimed the heavens spun around the earth. Those who said that the earth couldn't be spinning even though they couldn't explain why. That kind of argument kind of pisses me off. So this is basically what you're trying to say. If I can't explain how a human could do it, then I must accept that the culprit is a witch. Battler, you sound like a flat earther. It's not like we're forcing you to go that far. Oh, wait, sorry. It's not like we're forcing you to go that far. We were just wondering on what basis you could say such nonsense. Nonsense? Hey, have I really been saying something that weird just now? Am I the one who's crazy? You guys are really starting to freak me out. Battler-sama. When I died in the boiler room, I was killed by a 19th person who shouldn't exist. Can you explain how a human could have done that? At that time, the locations of the 18 were well known. Even so, I was killed. We talked about this in the story as well, right? Kumasawa-bachan, for example. She said she followed right after you and headed down to the boiler room, but we can't know for sure whether that was a lie or not. For all we know, she might have entered the boiler room with you and caught you by surprise. Or maybe when you stepped into the boiler room, you activated some kind of trap, one that might have been set up to hit you with one of those ice picks. After all, the stink of grandfather's body was coming from the incinerator. Someone was bound to go and check, so if the culprit just set up a trap beforehand, they could have easily stayed away from that place and used the time of Kanakon's death to create an alibi. You talk about a trap in the boiler room, but what kind of trap could that be? That's right. We're not too technologically advanced enough to have motion detectors, Battler. Following his death, everyone immediately ran over to the boiler room. But we didn't find any kind of weird device, did we? That is correct. Battler-sama, what kind of trap could I have been killed with? Oh, well, I don't know that, but anyway, they must have used some kind of clever trap, or maybe someone's lying, or what about this? Kanekun, what if the whole thing was just you play acting? That's it, you were play acting. On Eva and Uncle Hideyoshi were also play acting. They made the closed room themselves and were only pretending to be dead. Battler, what the fuck? Has your head been, feeling okay? Should I bring some cold drinks? Don't look at me with those pitting eyes. I'm not saying something that crazy, right? I'm just pointing out some possibilities you might find if you think of it all as a trick. Look, isn't it a pretty classic trick in mystery stories to have one of the victims just be playing dead? Oh, I can relate that to something. Yes, I won't say what. A classic trick? In other words, when Kanekun was killed, we knew for sure where all the rest of us were. And let's assume that Kumasawa-bachan wasn't lying. But that's only counting the survivors. What if the culprit pretended to be dead and joined a group of real victims so we'd lose track of them, and then acted on their own later? Everything would have been explained. So were you trying to say that Aunt Eva or one of the others was the culprit? But didn't Dr. Nanjo confirm all of their deaths as a doctor? That's right. Dr. Nanjo checked all of the victims. Battler-sama, for your theory to work, wouldn't Dr. Nanjo have to be one of the culprits too? Yep, that's right. Once you consider that Dr. Nanjo might have been one of the culprits and faked the proclamation of death, the whole story changes. See, that's also a classic trick in mystery novels, isn't it? Battler, you sound so desperate right now. But Dr. Nanjo is also killed, right? About that, that's right. Dr. Nanjo faked his death. Yep. After all, there wasn't anyone except Dr. Nanjo who could examine corpses properly. And everyone was really confused then anyway. We didn't have any spare time to check and see if he still had a pulse. With this theory, any one of the dead people could have been walking around. I think it would have been hard for the 6 of us who died in the beginning to do that. After all, the shutter was closed and there was a padlock that could have been opened from the inside. That's right. Mom was holding on to that key. So was Mom one of those culprits too? Wait a sec. Maybe it was impossible for the first 6, but in the case of Aniki's parents, the door was only locked on the outside. So they could have opened it from the inside. That's right. After we left the room, maybe they jumped out of the window and got to the boiler room first. Is that too much of a stretch? Or maybe Dr. Nanjo made a mistake when examining the corpses? Look, he said himself, right? He said there's a very high probability of making a mistake when examining corpses. If you disguised it well enough or prepared a substitute body, you could fake your own death. Let's leave the method or trick they used for later, and you see, it's nothing. It's not that hard to deny a 19th person existed, right? Much less a witch. Right? At least that much is completely impossible. I don't know why you've been trying so stubbornly to say that one of us is the culprit. In other words, you want to suspect one of your relatives? That's not it. I just don't want magic to be involved, because magic's not real. It's just, I can't easily accept that the 19th person existed, and even if one did, I think we should construct our argument from the point of view that the culprit was a human. I'll only accept that it's a witch in desperation, and at the very end, after everything else has been disproved. There's no way witches exist. Right? Why has everyone been casually accepting that the culprit was a witch? I think it's great how your family love makes you hate the thought that someone close to you is a murderer. But is it okay to let that fool you? Don't you want to find that detestable culprit who killed so many people? Aniki, don't you want to avenge your parents? Jessica, don't you want to avenge Kanan-kun and Kanan-kun? Don't you want to avenge Shannon-chan? Shannon-chan, you should at least want to know who it was that killed you. Why has everyone totally surrendered and decided that the culprit was a witch? Oh, I'm sorry, that was Battler talking. Maria was there. Nikki, don't you want to avenge your parents? Jessica, don't you want to avenge Kanan-kun? And Kanan-kun, don't you want to avenge Shannon-chan? Shannon-chan, you should at least want to know who it was that killed you. Why has everyone totally surrendered and decided that the culprit was a witch? What's wrong with all of you? The foolish and short-tempered Battler tried to force his ignorance on the others and yelled at them. However, everyone just looked at him pityingly, silently watching over him. At that time, the wise Maria laughed and pointed out Battler's mistake. I'm shocked. All I see is you repeating this nonsense, thinking that you figured something out, Battler. So, what's next? How would a human do it? In practical terms, I imagine you'll say, I just can't think of anything now, or with some kind of device, using abstract words to run away and evade the topic. What I really want to know, Battler, is this. Why don't you believe in Beatrice? She exists. Oh, exist isn't any quotes this time. So why don't you believe? Because she doesn't exist. Witches don't exist. There's no way. It was almost like a spoiled child who just doesn't want to accept something. The pitying gazes quietly closed in around Battler, but they didn't reach his stubborn heart. You realize you're acting like a spoiled brat throwing a tantrum, right? Battler-sama, I understand your feelings, but Beatrice does exist. Battler-kun, why don't you believe? Even though there's so much proof. Don't accept the argument that the witch must have been behind everything just because I can't explain it. Does this mean that if you don't know how a light bulb shines, then magic is the cause? That's wrong, isn't it? There's nothing that can't be explained without magic. All of this about witches and magic is just abdication of thought. You just surrendered and gave up because you don't understand what happened. Isn't that right? Well, and surprisingly, it looks like you alone won't believe no matter what, Battler. If even a single person doesn't believe, then a miracle won't occur. So if you don't rethink your ignorant theories, the miracle, the magic won't be completed. Now I see. I finally figured it out. So in other words, you guys are trying to force me to say the witch exists, right? A lie that everyone accepts becomes the truth. Is that what this is all about? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I keep going on about this, but what you're doing is all useless. I refuse. You guys are all pressing me, and that's why it's all useless. Why? Sorry, but why don't you let me spin the chessboard around one last time? If you want to force me to accept that there's a witch, there's a really easy way. And it's not the indirect way of saying it must be a witch because humans couldn't have done it. All you have to do is show me a witch doing it with magic. Furthermore, what Maria said earlier is what'll really take her grave. You said that even if one person doesn't believe, a miracle won't occur. But real miracles happen whether other people believe in them or not. Even if I alone don't believe. So any miracles or magic or witches that exist only because I believe in them are downright lies. But are they? The uneasy move following Battler's ignorant rant was blown away by a very soft and light laugh. Whose laugh? Battler was surprised. He had never heard that voice before. When he looked at George and Jessica, at Shannon and Cannon and Maria, he noticed that they had suddenly gone respectfully silent. Oh. Beatrice! Beatrice! Oh my god, it's her! It's her! She's here, guys, she's here! It's the Beatrice. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm like really excited actually. I'm thrilled actually. Not just excited, I am thrilled to see her. Beatrice. How amusing. I haven't met such a charming human for quite some time. Who are you? Don't you even know the host of the tea party you were invited to? How amusing indeed. This is Beatrice Sama, the Golden Witch who has lived for 1,000 years. It is an honor to be graced with your presence, Beatrice Sama. Please forgive Battler-kun's ranting. This guy's just stubborn and, he still doesn't understand the situation he's in. What a treat this is. Most witches get tired of living after the first 1,000 years. How nice it is to meet a man with a backbone such as yourself every once in a while. It is quite an honor to be present when Beatrice shows herself, Battler. How, astonishing. Are you really that desperate to make me believe that a 19th person is the culprit? This is starting to get interesting, and it's all useless. You must be the illusion that Maria and the others call the witch Beatrice. And you'll only be allowed to exist if everyone believes it. You have that kind of, half-existence, right? That's why you want to make me believe too. You can't exist because I alone don't believe in you, even though she's right there. Like, she's right there, buddy. You're kind of proving yourself wrong, I think. Isn't that right? Your powers of comprehension aren't bad for a mere commoner who knows nothing of magic. Yes, it seems you were born with a strong magic-resisting power. You're a natural enemy of us witches. No matter how much we turn your world upside down, you never believe in us. Therefore, the magic won't succeed. I accept that attitude of yours. I've got no clue what you're saying. It's very kind of you to go through all the trouble of showing yourself to us, but I don't believe you exist in the slightest. It's true that many strange things happened during those 2 days. Like Marie said earlier, even though I would think all the tricks could be explained, I still can't lay out the practical details of each one. However, that doesn't mean I'll surrender. And I'm different from the rest of them. Got it? I'll never accept that it was the work of a witch just because I can't explain it. This keeps getting more amusing. Making you surrender will be worth my while. You're just the kind of man I'd like to force into praising my name. I'd love to try making a man like you kiss my toes. If you want to talk nonsense, talk all you want. I deny you exist. I'll explain all these events with humans and tricks. There's no room for even a speck of magic or witches. Wonderful. What a perfect way to divert oneself from 1,000 years of boredom. Then let me ask you. A short while ago, you said that using the crack in the door would be sufficient to kill Ava and Hideyoshi, right? Explain how they would have been killed using some human trick. Suddenly jumping right into the toughest part, are you? Does that mean this is the trick you're proudest of? Miss Real Culprit. Oh, what is dissolve effect? With a shake of her golden pipe, gentle multicolored smoke trailed out of the end. The smoke quickly obscured their surroundings, and they were suddenly in the hallway of the mansion. Oh, ooh, whoa, what is this PowerPoint transition? Blue Lock Season 2 core. The door in front of them, slightly open, but secured by the chain, was... That's right, it's the door to the room where Ava and Hideyoshi were killed. Nice trick. Very well. Show me what you would do through this small crack, Battler. They probably had some device to shoot those ice picks. If they use that, how would they reach Ava on the bed when you can't see that far through this crack? And how would they reach Hideyoshi in the bathroom with the door shut? Damn, there's a crack. There should be some way. If you can't think of one, allow me. Oh, how would a witch do it? Come on, let's see your little trick. Battler, you're being rude to Beatrice. How nice, how nice. What a charming man. That will make it even more fun to force him into submission. You really want to make me kiss your toes that much? Only if I surrender. But watch. I'll definitely expose this trick, and then I'll make you kiss my ass instead. What a delightful man. I'll remember that promise. Weak witches kiss the behinds of demons to gain power, because there's no more humiliating oath. Just being told that makes me want to force you into surrender. Paying no mind to Battler's worthless ranting, Beatrice once again shook the golden pipe. That's right, the golden pipe was her precious magic cane. Come, arise, children. I am the guide of purgatory. Forgive the deadly sins and hold the 7 stakes. Guided by those magic words, which sounded like a command, 7 stakes gathered. They were the stakes of the 7 demons, symbolizing the 7 deadly sins of sinful people. Beelzebub and Asmodeus, come, forgive the sins. Release the spirits of the sinners. The pics of Beelzebub and Asmodeus responded to Beatrice's call. The two stakes of the demons were sucked in through the crack of the door like billiard balls struck by a cue stick. Then several scattered noises refracted through the wall, making a sound like a woodpecker. At the end, a pleasant sound could be heard. Oh my. Oh. She sounded like Woody the Woodpecker. It was a small, satisfying sound, like the one heard when someone is chopping firewood and the falling axe neatly and easily slices through the wood. It was the sound of the two picks burying themselves deep into Ava and Hideyoshi's foreheads. Right down to the middle. Want to see? They definitely heard two sounds like a pair of foreheads being split open. Battler wasn't permitted to see it since he was on the other side of the door. But those two had died again, and the second time they lay not an inch apart from where they had lain the last time, with this exact same blood spray as before. You moron, that's insane. You think you could just kill them like that? I can kill them. I can kill them just like this. Oh, wow. Woo. Suddenly, they were no longer in the hall, but seated at the tea party they had started from. Whew. Everyone but Battler was sitting meekly, but Cannon was moaning fresh blood dangling from his mouth. Oh god, Cannon, no. What a rude thing to do at a tea party. Satan's stake was buried deep into Cannon's chest. Cannon-kun! Oh, damn it! Battler was the only one getting agitated. George, Jessica, Shannon, everyone else was meekly hanging their heads like students being yelled at by their teacher. Cannon was captivated by a trifling anger and tried to disturb my banquet. Being easily captivated by anger is your deadly sin. Cleanse yourself, repent, and do it over. Beatrice Sama, please forgive him. I think Cannon has repented enough. Wonderful. I am generous to those who respect me. Don't screw with me. Do you think I'll accept your existence because of this cheap act? Like hell you're a 1,000-year-old witch. Your tricks aren't 1,000 years old, they're just some of a century classic tricks from the mystery genre. There's no such thing as magic. Definitely not. All of the crimes can be explained with humans and tricks. You would explain my 1,000 years with 100 years of humans? Good. This is precisely why I've taken a liking to you. Foolish Battler. Cut it out, Battler-kun. You can't go against a witch. Oh no, Shannon. Shannon started moaning, holding her cheek. Maybe she had a toothache. But apparently it wasn't a toothache after all. Slight redness spread across the cheek Shannon was holding. It looked like that redness was causing Shannon unbearable pain. Her fingers were pressing in again against her cheek, and drops of sweat appeared all over her body. Shannon! Hang in there! What's going on? Damn it, what the hell is that red stuff? It expanded rapidly, covering half of Shannon's face. Then, the stupid dunce Battler finally realized. Please, Battler-kun, please believe in Beatrice. I beg you. Because you won't believe the magic is dissolving. For the first time in his life, Battler heard that sound. Like a pomegranate splitting. The red spray even landed on Battler's face. Poor Shannon's face had been split in half. Her last horrible moments in that storehouse were repeated once again. Shannon! Oh, damn it! Stop it! Don't humiliate the dead! This time the redness spread across George's entire body. It was like the beautiful cloud drawn by milk when it's poured into black tea. It spread out and extended across his entire body. As it did, it seemed to give George increasingly greater pain. Looking at this bizarre spectacle, Battler was petrified as he frantically thought with his pitifully clumsy imagination about the nature of the strange death that George and the rest were experiencing. Eventually that redness reached the nearby Jessica as well. Stop it! Stop it! What did Aniki do? What did Jessica do? Just stop it! Don't let the witch break your spirit. Deny her, erase her. As long as at least one person denies her, she's an illusion that can't exist. Are you okay, Jessica? Aniki? George was no longer recognizable as a human. He looked like the pile of leftover meat after the good, delicious meat had been scraped off to be cooked. The only thing that even resembled a human was the shape of his lower jaw and rib cage. And it was clear that Jessica, who was covered with a steadily strengthening redness, was approaching the same fate. Battler, quickly believe in Beatrice. Everyone's magic will dissolve. Maria, it's all over your body too. I revive all of the dead with my magic. But as long as you don't believe, that magic will hold no true power. But I'm sure that a man like yourself won't surrender to something like this, right? Wait, I just realized she does have one. Beatrice, the Golden Witch who has lived for 1,000 years. She has surpassed the limits of humans and, like demons, will sometimes appear in response to the summons made by humans to offer her power in exchange for a price. She likes black tea and ice cream. She hates boredom and people who deny her existence. Oh my. What does she, like in the new? I'm gonna do this in a bit. Her nails get painted. It cuts off the bottom part of her dress. I mean, it's not bad. It's one of the better designs. God, I love her sleeves. Oh, they're so good. I love these sleeves. And she's covered with the her whole skirt's the one-winged eagle. Battler! We didn't want to doubt our friends. We refused to face reality and gave in to the witch. But Battler, you won't give in to the witch. Jessica! Poor Jessica met the same end. I just wait. Okay, it's the same thing for them. Still. Just like George, she ended up like a butcher's leftovers. George and Jessica were now so destroyed, melted, and mixed up it was impossible to tell them apart. Battler, don't cry. Beatrice will restore the dead over and over. So there's nothing to be sad about. Oh, so even if we still die, we're still just fine. The redness began eating into the whole of Maria's body. The foolish Battler watched and screamed. Oh my god, that's awful. I won't forgive you, I'll never forgive you. Oh, witch, magic? I'll risk my body and soul to deny you. No matter what happens, I can't accept you. Now that you've gone so far to piss me off, I'll never forgive you. I won't forgive, I definitely won't forgive you. You'll regret making me, Ushirmia Battler, your enemy. I'll deny you no matter what. No matter how baffling things get, it can be all explained by humans. I'll erase every cell of you from this world. Who else said? Battler, was it? That's just the thing to divert me from my 1,000 years of boredom. Come, explain. Try explaining it all with humans and tricks. And learn how lowly humans are. Let's see if what humanity has built up in 100 years can oppose my 1,000 years. That's what will make forcing you to submit so pleasant. So, tell me who you call yourself, Battler. You who call yourself Battler. What about Maria's letter? How the 6 were killed? The shutter? The receipt sealed? The closed room with the chain? Cannon in the boiler room? Genji and the others in the lounge? Nazi suicide? The riddle of the epitaph? The location of the hidden gold? Yes, Battler. Why don't you show me the power of humans? Whoa, gunshot. Oh my. Oh, not double, the 7th expansion. Credits. BT Web. Die. Oh yeah. I like this music. Whoever composed the music for this game. Fire. Molly. All season. Inscriptor. So I'm guessing the next chapter is, explanation? Like, we're gonna puzzle it out? Maybe? High tension wires. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know for sure. I'm gonna play the game. I don't know. I mean, I'm just, oh my god. This is very good. I'm very glad I got into it. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this first episode. I mean, we finally reached the end after 21 episodes. That's something I don't know how Battler's gonna reason how things could have been done without the use of magic, with, well, as Beatrice and Battler have said, humans and tricks. But I mean, I guess that's what the next part is about. Next episode, this music's pumping. I guess I'll let the rest of this play out. Addition of new elements. ? Has been added. You can find this new feature on the title screen. New feature has been added. ? And a new, achievement. We'll look at the achievement first. Oh my, the gauntlet is thrown. Complete the tea party. That's something else, isn't it? Huh. 18%. Wow, we're moving up in the world. Let's see what this last one is. Let's hope it's kind of short. I mean, I know I said I'd finish, but I don't want to leave this for whatever. Welcome to the tea party of those who are not human. Ominous. Gotta love it. Yeah, there's the bell. Or I guess that's the clock chime. Let's see. purple spiral. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There she is. What sort of black tea shall I prepare next? Allow me to display every refined tea that ever was and ever shall be. Oh. Oh, hey. Who are you and what kind of voice should you have? Oh, what kind of voice should you have? Should also be British, or I don't have that many accents in my repertoire. I could do silent. I mean, Southern. I can do kind of British, and I could do Scottish, but she doesn't look much like a Scot to me. She doesn't look very French either. I don't know. If she becomes recurring, maybe I can give her a different voice down the line, but for now I'll just give her a placeholder. Dried plum black tea. The kind that goes for 200 yen a pack. For 1,000 years I have been fond of black tea, but I did not know of such a thing. I will never tire of living in this world. Beto, you don't have to display such hostility. I am just a wandering witch. I didn't come with the intention of violating the rules of your territory. Hostility? I bear nothing of the sort. I'm just terribly concerned with seeing to that the legendary witch Lady Bankerstil is well attended to. We got a little something. Oh. Oh. Bankerstil, oh. It's got a little tail. Bankerstil, the Witch of Fragments who has lived 1,000 years. It is said she lives in a world where the concepts of fate and possibilities can be visualized. She observes the fates of humans and sometimes interferes. In other words, sometimes she is you, and sometimes she is your only friend. Understand? She likes wine and spicy foods. She hates boredom and people who never learn. I'm a little intrigued as to what these do, so hypothetically this won't like piss her off or something, right? We're not gonna have like a DLC moment. Oh. What a useless dream, to try and kill me despite being a mere human. Fire bullets and they will merely reflect back towards you like light off a mirror. However, there does exist just one way to kill me. You hold that method in the palm of your hand, though I do doubt one as mediocre as you could ever pull it off. My. Yeah, so, you know, if we figure out the riddle to the gold, that's what it'll be. So if it'll go back to normal. And if we do Barnkastel? By constantly continuing to think, I will live forever. In other words, if I were to stop thinking, I could die at any time. However, once I start thinking again, I can also revive at any time. That's why I'm fickle and whimsical. I live as I please, die as I please, and revive as I please. Oh, she looks at you. That's frightening. Oh my. So, the witch's tea party, I suppose. You misunderstand. I am powerless. Before a witch such as you, who possesses the dreadful power to kill an individual 100 times, I am completely powerless. That a lady witch like you possesses a power that none can approach is what is truly terrifying. After all, that great witch, Lady Lambda Delta, was dethroned by you alone. I only won an endurance contest. She simply got tired. That is not what Lady Lambda Delta said, though. Too much humility can be unseemly, Lady Bankerstil. Oh, where's she going? Oh, where are you? That girl has a dreadful power. The power to kill an individual without fail. However, which without fail doesn't exist in this world. No matter how many times you divide one, you could never reach 0. That girl has the power to bring the odds of failure down to almost exactly 0. The power to give rise to almost perfect certainty. I hope I never have to fight such a terrifying witch again. However, you have the power to cause success without fail, as long as the odds are not 0. Though you say without fail doesn't exist in this world, you possess an infallible power yourself. How very terrifying. The power to kill an individual endlessly. I think you're the more terrifying one. You jest. From your point of view, mine is but a trifling power. This is most certainly what one would call empty praise. Call it flattery to make up for the cost of staying here. I am a fleeing traveler who crosses the fragments, continually running from boredom. I simply came around because I heard you'd started something interesting. Have no doubts that I will choose to leave as soon as you are no longer interesting. Beatrice, I am deeply and humbly delighted to have the great Lady Banca still as an observer. And so, your impressions? Lambda Delta is terrifying because of her cruelty, but she's a girl I can understand. You do seem to be capable of affection, but I can't understand you at all. That makes you much more terrifying than her. I am fickle by nature. Do forgive me. Besides, I believe you also enjoy entrusting your fate to the role of fickle dice. Right, Lady Burkestill? When I roll the dice, I have a roll I clearly want to get. Unlike you, on the other hand, never let the dice fall from your hand. So whatever the roll might have been, you're never disappointed. Whatever roll the dice show you, you are satisfied without fail. In that sense, you far surpass me. You're one I really don't want to fight with. Inside of you, there's nothing but 0. That's why I can't win against you with my power. It's the worst compatibility. Perhaps Lambda Delta, on the other hand, has a good compatibility against you, since she would be able to kill your endless nature. Oh yes, which is truly all the best people to enjoy black tea with. One doesn't get bored. Then I'm relieved. Boredom is the only poison that can kill me. So, don't kill me, okay? Lady Beatrice, Endless Witch. If such is your wish, I, Beatrice, shall show you an even better time. In that case, wouldn't it be best if I brought the next chessboard in right away? It seems the next tale would do more for you than another cup of black tea. Just wait for a moment. We're going crazy with these dissolve effects, oh my god. Something troublesome seems to have taken a liking to you. I'd really like to lend you my power, but as you just heard, that girl's power and mine have a very bad compatibility. Unfortunate as that may be, but you really are pitiful, so I'll help you out just a bit. First of all, about that girl. She does have the name Beatrice, but that doesn't necessarily mean she is one individual woman. Get what I mean? In other words, she's not some human. Her existence is a personification of the rules of this world. To beat her, you have to expose the rules of this world and unravel them. Perhaps this can be likened to learning the rules of chess by watching a game. First, take a good look at the chessboard. Then learn the movement and roles of the pieces. Then look for the conditions required to win at her game. When you've managed to reveal all these things, her heart will be exposed. After that, you can rip it apart or crush it as you please. I am being quite generous. In the past, when I had a human body, it took me 100 years to notice even this much. This is my meager farewell gift to you. The pitiful one, captured by Beto. Are we breaking the fourth wall here? It's just like a spoon. A spoon can be used for more than just drinking soup. She was looking at this. Oh my god. Okay, yeah, we're breaking the fourth wall. You can use it to dig through the prison you're locked in, or as a weapon to gouge the witch's eyes out. Of course, you can also use the spoon to continually sip the watery soup inside your eternal cell. Don't get the wrong idea. I have no intention of becoming your ally. I do feel empathy for you, but I won't help you. It's like I'm sitting in front of the television yelling at you on the other side, even though my voice won't reach you. So you understand that I am a witch, right? I intend to enjoy this endless tale that Beto is going to weave until I tire of it. But that alone won't hold my interest. That's why I'll lend you my power. It's all so that I don't get tired of this. I am the cruelest witch in the world. Whoever the opponent may be, I'll make them surrender with certainty. Even if it's Beatrice the Endless Witch. Okay? You are my game piece. Give it your best shot. I'll give you advice sometimes, out of her sight. Don't bore me, okay? I don't like that she looks at us. Bankastel. I like that name, actually. I enjoy that name. Sounds German. Maybe I should learn to do a German accent to better voice her. And that's the end of the first episode, officially. Addition of new game board. The next episode's lock has been removed. Addition, you can find these new features on the title screen. Oh, okay. We'll read that one in a second, but once this screen goes away. Because I want to see that, but I want to look at the other things first. No. I want to look at the achievement, and then look at the additional things. Oh, we changed. Oh, tips. Okay, well, no. First, we're going to see the other thing. What lies beyond? Complete the first hidden tea party. 23%. Wow. We're just like, man, we're just boom, 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 you know? It's so funny to see the achievements just slowly go down. Or the completion. Okay, we're going to look at the tips, and then I'll leave you, but take a look back on your recent stay. We hope this will help you better recall the events of the past 2 days. Oh. Okay, so it gives us the characters, and you can execute them and reread those. Interesting. Huh. Okay, so we've read these before. What is... Wait, whoa, this is not her... Oh, wait, okay, no, yes, we did read this one. Sorry, it looked different for some reason. Okay, this is all how they died. So the sacrifices: stake of Asmodeus, Beelzebub, Mammon, Satan, Lucifer, Belphegor, Leviathan. So that's 7? 8. No, that's 7. Okay, and then Battler alone on this one. Winchester M1894 sawed-off. A sawed-off custom version of a rifle manufactured during the golden age of Winchesters. This special model more than makes up for its shorter lethal range by its portability and old-time cool factor. It can even be fired as quickly as a pistol if one works the lever action skillfully enough. Furthermore, any true lover of old Western dramas can't help but be attracted to the one-handed reload made possible by its characteristic lever handle. To match with Kenzo's personal preferences, it was made to handle .45 long Colt bullets. It holds 4+1 rounds. And the 7 stakes of purgatory. Stakes containing the 7 magics that represent the 7 deadly sins. In accordance with their user's orders, they bury themselves into the desired location of the desired target with perfect accuracy. Because they flit about at ultra-high speeds and change their trajectories at will by bouncing off walls and the like, they have no blind spots and will hit their targets without fail, no matter what form of cover they might be hiding behind. Furthermore, it is possible to change the force they hit with depending on the part of the body at which they strike. They are extremely powerful weapons, but they cannot target pure people who have not committed one of the 7 deadly sins, or people who have strong resistance to magical power. So, hold on. If that's the case, I don't know which sin each represents, but was her okay. Hers would be like pride, would it not? So, or maybe his would be pride. Okay, so we have pride, sloth, wrath, greed, envy, gluttony, and we're missing one. Pride, sloth, wrath, greed, envy, gluttony, and I know it's like the most obvious thing ever. Hold on, I'll look it up. I'll look it up. Because it'll bother me if I don't. 7 deadly sins. Because I kind of want to figure it out. Okay. Lust. Okay. Could Kenzo be considered lust because of Beatrice? Nanjo, I feel like, would be sloth. Canon feels like wrath. Because he was trying to, you know, get back. Hideyoshi, gluttony, potentially. So pride, gluttony, lust, wrath, sloth. So that leaves greed and envy. I don't know what Genji would be, or Kumasawa. Neither of them feel like greed or envy, but you know what, it's interesting, very interesting. I wonder what this is gonna have to do, but we will unlock the next episode next time. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me through the first episode. We have 7 more to go, but you know, 1 down, 7 more should come easily enough. Hopefully, potentially, maybe. Thank you again. I think I already said thank you like 3 times, but thank you. Appreciate it. And, bye!